Good morning, Vesta. Okay, I gotta flip my camera. There we go. How are you? Had to find myself on the computer. How is Colorado this morning? We have a rainy day here in Toledo. Hi, Joyce. Hi, Della. Good morning. Oh, good. Do you have sunshine then? Good, 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 good. I'm hoping we get some sunshine here today sometime. Okay, so the big news is Stampin' Up! Today only, orders that are over $75 get free shipping. Hi, Pat. This is a great time to stock up on your heavier items because that, weight adds to your shipping. So, good time to get cardstock. Anything paper can get heavy. Punches, things like that, your heavier items. Today would be a great day to take advantage of that. Hi, Cindy. So that's the big news. I didn't even know about it until a couple of days ago. So it was quite a surprise. I have my order waiting. I want to go through it several times, make sure I didn't miss anything. Hi, Lori. Hi, Kathy. So that's the Stampin' Up! News. The new catalog does go live May 3rd, and what I'm showing you today is I'm using one of the bundles from the new catalog. So I realized that if you want to remake today's card, I realize you're going to have to go into what you have and use what you have, which is great. Amy Downing, get out of here. Are you really watching me? Oh my gosh, I love Amy. She is like the funnest person to go birding with. Anyway, I got distracted when I saw her name. So, and I always encourage everybody to use whatever you have. Now, if you like this bundle, you will be able to get it when the new catalog launches. The quilt block itself, what I want to encourage you to do is make the quilt block, and then when you share your photos over in the Quilt Cards and More group, I want you just to use that block in any way that you want in order to show off your quilt block. Okay, so that I wanted to get cleared up. I don't think I can think of anything. Oh, let's talk about my t-shirt. Isn't this the coolest? Great Lakes piping plovers have been showing up at Sleeping Bear Dunes. I believe that is in the UP. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. But they are showing up. Now, Monty, who is Nish's dad, and Nish is the pair that we had nesting at Maumee Bay State Park last summer, Nish and Nellie. So Monty is Nish's dad. Yesterday he was not seen in Texas and the winds were favorable. So he may be on his way back to Chicago. So we're anxiously awaiting that news. My husband and I, we did go out to Maumee Bay State Park yesterday. And I know it's a little early to be looking, but we were just hoping maybe Nish or Nellie had returned to our beach. So we'll keep looking for them and hoping that they return and nest again. So yes, the Great Lakes piping plovers, they are making their journeys back to their breeding grounds. So we're keeping our fingers crossed that we get our pair back. Okay, hi Leah. There's a whole bunch of names that went by that I missed. Linda, I can't read them, but good morning, everybody. Hi, Robin. So I'm going to flip the camera over. We're going to get a little bit of stamping done, and then we're going to go into our quilt block. Okay, so hold on. I just got to get situated here. And I don't want my camera to, or my mount to fall over, so I may have to balance that a little differently. There we go. I think that's pretty good. Maybe bring it down a little bit more. Okay. Amy, as you can see, I'm using my Sibley book as a little lift. So, so first thing, last week when I shared Happy Mail, right after we got done with the live and I went downstairs, the mail had come and Sharon's card was in there. So this is from Sharon Smythe. It's got the little bird. This is a punch that retired quite a long time ago. I believe it is the Stampin' Up! One, Sharon. But she's got her daisy punches, her little bird, this gorgeous paper. Put another daisy in the inside. So I got it, Sharon, just like an hour later than when we went live. So thank you so much. She used the little brushed brass butterfly on here. Her little embellishments. So cute. I love it. Thank you, Sharon. Okay, so let me show you the first card I did. This was my first card. And I thought, the quilt block just kind of looks like it's floating out there. And then I thought, I don't know, I think I looked at a wall hanging in my craft room and I thought, what if the quilt was hanging from the branches? And then I got a little melancholy, I guess you could call it. And I'm like, if I were a bird, I would dwell in a woodlot where quilts hung from the branches. I know, it's a little nerdy, but that's where it took me. And so then I made this card, and with the branch stamp in the Songbird stamp set, I just created, branches and then made it look like the quilts were hanging from the branches. And you'll notice on the first one, very stark white. So then I decided we needed kind of like a sky background. So I took my blending brush and with the balmy blue, I just created a soft sky behind it. And if you're like me, when you make one card, then another idea comes to you and you remake it, incorporating your new ideas. Well, from this one, what I was imagining in my mind's eye was, these are the new in colors, and I wanted you to see them. But in my mind's eye, I thought about other colors that we could use for this stamp set. And let's say in the birding world, an LBJ is a little brown job, like your little sparrows, just really kind of a short way to make a description. But, I got to thinking of other colors for these little songbirds. And I also envisioned, what if it was a baby shower card that you needed to make? And so this one then came to mind. Again, I did it with the in colors, but imagine that this is a baby bird, and let's say he's maybe a different color, and this whole color palette is done in soft pastels, thinking, like for babies. And what if this quilt was so saffron, petal pink, your soft pastel colors for babies? And what if then this, instead of, a little note of thanks, what if you had a stamp set that had the saying, welcome baby, and this was a baby quilt hanging from the branch that has the nesting babies? I know, my mind goes off on these little adventures, but that's the things that I was thinking about because of how cute this stamp set is, and with the nest that comes in that stamp set. So my plan was to overwhelm everybody with a whole bunch of cards, but luckily life got in the way and I couldn't keep going, so I could spare you all of these different ideas. This is the Sweet Songbird stamp set. It is photopolymer, so you'll want to use a piercing mat underneath it to get a good image. But here we have feet, eyes, music notes, beak. Here's the nest, the branch that I use, the leaves, and it has a lot of cute little sayings. So it comes in a bundle, and the bundle includes the punch that will punch out the bird, the wing, the breast, if you want to change this color, and the little beak. Again, this will be available May 3rd, but I just had to show it to you. I was just like in my heyday, getting to put quilts and birds together and make a card. It was just a great day for me. So that's what we're going to be using. I don't want to get sidetracked here. I had like a whole thing planned in my head when I would show you something, but let's get to stamping. Again, this is April's host code. If you place an order with and choose me as your demonstrator, if your order is under $150, if you would use this code right here before you check out, that helps me earn Stampin' Rewards that I like to send back to customers who have placed an order of $50 or more with me in the month. And I use those rewards to send you a little gift. So if your order is over $150, you get those rewards, and you should be gobbling them up and earning free merchandise with your orders. So you can do it for yourself, or if you want to use that and help me, I would appreciate that. So let's do a little stamping. Oh, you know what? I am so bad at this, and I know you guys hear me say it every week, and I still can't get used to it. I just assume you know who I am when you join and watch. But my name is Julie Heights. I live in Toledo, Ohio, and I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I am also the chirpy card maker of quilts and more. So welcome, because I did see some new names scrolling through, and it's really bad of me not to introduce myself, but I'm trying to get better. I haven't accomplished it yet. So let me get, I'm going to bring in, this is that piercing mat. It's just got some thickness so that with a photopolymer stamp, there's no red rubber here to help cushion it. So to get a good stamped image, you want something like this underneath. It could be a stack of paper, anything to give you some cushion, because the photopolymers don't have the red rubber. The great thing about photopolymer is that you can see where you're stamping. So for the inside of the card, I am just going to, well, that had a lot going on in it, because let me show you. Okay, so the inside of this card has a lot going on, but you know what happened? I dropped my block and I had brown smudges of ink, so I had to cover up where the block landed on my white cardstock. But we're not going to go that crazy on the inside. All we're going to do is we're going to put a little balmy blue down, and we're just going to make that little flower. So we're going to do that really quick. Find all of my pieces here. I thought I had them out. This is the Parakeet Party, the new in color. And on these leaves, I'm only going to ink up these two over here, because those are going to be the leaves for my flower. Oops, I got some on this one. I don't want that one. Okay. Just gonna put that down. And then there's a little tiny stem that's in the stamp set that I haven't mastered yet because it rocks on me. So I'm just going to bring in the Stampin' Write marker that is the parakeet party. And I'm just going to draw my own stem. Okay? Good thing about having the markers, you can do a lot of touch-ups with those. And then we're just going to, I think we're going to bring in the Sweet Sorbet. Oh, we better get this closed because it's going to end up all over the place. It's why I don't do a lot of stamping live, because I am always an accident waiting to happen with ink. And so we're just going to, I'm going to bring this to me so I can see what I'm doing. And we're just going to put our little flower there. Isn't that cute? Close that up. I'm going to bring in my balmy blue and my brush. I'm just going to ink up some of that color. I need a scrap so that I can tap it off, because I don't want a really bold spot. And then somewhere in here, I'm just going to lay down some color. And it's going to be subtle. Like my eye can see that that's a really light blue. And that's all I want right there, okay? Now, I don't know what sentiment I want to go there, so I'm just going to leave that alone. And the inside of our card is done. Now, what I want to show you is how I did my background. So I'm bringing in another piece of, this is Basic White, 4 inches by 5 1/4. It's going to be our card front. And again, I'm going to put my sky down. And I'm just going to put it all over. But not concentrate on like having the same amount of coverage everywhere, because we're going to be stamping over it. I can see here that I'm going to have a lot of white space in these areas, so I'll concentrate on the color being in those areas. Can you see the blue? Oh yeah, you can see the blue coming out. I just want to put some sky in there so that it doesn't look so white. And we can always go back and we can always add more. So there's that. And then I'm going to bring in soft suede for my branches. And this is the branch. Here's the great thing about photopolymer. If I wanted this branch to bend, I can pick this up and I can change the arch of my branch. So if I wanted it kind of arching out like that, or even coming down maybe, swinging down like that, that's the great thing about these stamps, is that you can, they're flexible and you can make it any shape that you want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my branch that's at the top that my quilt is going to hang from. And I want to keep this kind of up high. And I might get my head in the way here, but I got to see what I'm doing. And I've got a piece of paper underneath so that when I go, if I go off like that, it's fine. So there's my branch that my quilt's going to hang from. And then I'm going to just start bringing in some branches for the bird to sit on. There's one. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bend this branch. I'm going to give it a gentle curve there. And I'm just going to come in from down here. Put that there. So I got another branch coming in. So that's going to be my branches. I just love this stamp set. What I love about the look is that my cards, I feel, have like a storybook feel to them. And I'm not one to really collect a lot of cutesy stamp sets. I like to have at least one for any baby quilt cards or, you know, little people cards. And that's why well, besides they're birds. I mean, let's face it, that was the main reason why I wanted the stamp sets, because they're birds. But, you know, I got to thinking, what am I going to use all these cutesy birds for? But I really believe that if you change the color of the bird and do browns or not your bright colors, there are so many possibilities with this stamp set. Okay, so here's our leaves. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this around and line up these leaves with the ends of the branches. And I really think my head's going to get in the way here. I'm just going to eyeball it. It's not going to line up perfectly. So there's that. And then let's do, hold it, this one's got to come over like this. And then we have the one at the bottom. And then I'm going to do some second generation stamping, because I want to, that's how I got the lighter colored leaves, was I just would stamp once and then, and because these leaves don't have to line up with anything, you can put them wherever you want. You are just wanting to, and here it looks like I brought a little brown ink over, but that's okay with me. Let's put in maybe, I know my quilt's gonna hide some of these, but that's okay. I'll stamp off. And then I'll see if there's anywhere else that I want to put some of the darker greens. But I'm just filling in. Isn't this cute? Oh my gosh, I could just do this all day. And I have a tendency to go overboard with stamping. So I'm going to have to stop myself at some point, because I can always go back in, right? So there's our leaves. And if I want more blue sky, I can just put in some blue sky up here. There, just to kind of balance out my color here. Okay, we can always go back and add more. So let's see. I'm not going to put my music notes in because I need to know where my bird is, and I don't want to put my feet down yet because I need to see where the bird's going to sit. So let's set that stamping aside along with the inside. And let's go to our quilt block. Okay, because I know probably that's what many of you are here for. You want to see Wait a minute. We're not going to go there yet. The bird. You want to see how to stamp the bird. Okay. Let me show you what I did. And you don't have to do this. This was me playing around. I took the punch and I took a piece of cardstock and I just stuck it in and punched out all of the pieces so that I have a negative here, okay? And the reason why I played around with this is because I wanted to, I want to use the bird and I want to use the wing. And because of the way the shapes are positioned in the punch, you might find it really awkward to get your piece in there to punch out just one thing because of the angle that you stamped it at. So this is what I played around with. Imagine that this is blank. There's nothing on it. What I did is I laid my template down and I secured it with some Scotch tape. I'm going to try and line this up. I got better at it the more I did it. But what I did was I inked up my bird stamp and I came in and I positioned it over where those would land and then stamped and then lifted the template off. And usually I got really good at it. And then this way, when I put it in my punch, everything is pretty much where it's supposed to be. It's off a little bit. So I'm going to have to look at this and then punch. Now I save all these pieces because if I want to custom color those and use them, I can. But here I have my wing and my bird. Okay? So I just have to decide if I'm going to use the Orchid Oasis or if I'm going to use the Starry Sky bird that I had punched. So I just wanted to show you that little trick. You don't have to do it that way. It was just something that I tried so that I could kind of learn how to do that because I've seen other people do it. Okay, so let's do our quilt block. I have a 4-patch here. It's a 2.5 inch 4-patch. I've got a line drawn halfway horizontally and vertically. And then I have 4 of the new in colors. These are 1.25 inch squares. That's going to be for my quilt. Now, the easy way to get your white, you might be thinking that I'm going to have you cut these squares into half square triangles and it's going to get really fussy, right? Nope. Let me show you something really easy. Get a straight line. I'm going to use my grid paper and I'm going to put my points right on that darker line. And you notice I've got 1/4 inch on either side. All I want to do is run a really tiny bead of glue, depending on if you're left-handed or right-handed, what side of the line that you want to do. But all I need is a really thin bead to the right or left of that line. So, I have a feeling that's not a good... So what I'm going to do is just a bead of glue, just like that. And then that strip of white cardstock I had you cut, it's like 1/4 inch by the length of the paper. what I'm going to do is I am just going to put that on the point, line it up with the other point. Now, I'm going to pick it up and flip it over. And what I want you to focus on is that your points land on the edge of that piece of cardstock. Like that. Can you see how the points are on the edge of the cardstock? And then I am going to put another square there. And I just want a thin bead because I don't want this glue pushing out from underneath the strip. And all I really want to do is be able to pick it up, flip it over, and then I can line up my points. Because with the liquid glue, you've got time to do that. Okay. Now I'm going to put another one down. So we're not cutting these squares into half square triangles and all of that good stuff. We want to take any shortcut that we can. Flip it over. Just do your best to line those points up. And then we got one more. We want to take the easy way out. That way we can get more cards made. Just pick it up, turn it over, and then line up your points here. Oops, get over there. Now they don't have to be perfect, but you want them really close because we're gonna be lining up these white stripes with each other to get our... Oh, that's something else I wanted to share with you. I don't know if this quilt block has like an official name, but I saw a box in a box in a box. And then with the baby bird and the whole nesting thing, I called them nesting boxes. I don't even know if that's a real thing. So here's your strip. And you'll notice you have a little triangle on one side, a larger triangle on the other side. Kind of looks like prairie points, don't they? Let's cut these apart. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to cut the excess white off. And voila, we didn't have to cut this square in half and then, mess around with handling so many pieces. We only had to handle two pieces, our square and our strip. So let's just finish cutting these off. And one of the things that will come into play with lining up your white strips when you go to put these back together is if you were really good about getting that pattern paper lined up with the edge of that white strip. But if things don't come together perfectly, then that's where we get to, it gives us the opportunity to be even more creative. And how are we going to cover that up? Okay, so there are our 4 squares. Now when I bring in my grid, we're going to glue these down. But before we start gluing them down, I always like to see how they're going to play together. You want your small triangle on the inside, okay? And then you'll notice your points coming together. And sometimes they'll be perfect, sometimes they'll be off a little bit. That all has to do with your cutting and your placement of that white strip. But for the most part, they'll come together pretty easy. See that? There is our box in a box in a box. How easy was that? It's like, voila. So what you're going to do is you're going to glue these squares down to that grid paper, and then you'll want to square it up if you have anything like hanging over the sides. You're just going to want to make sure that this finishes at 2 inches square. Okay, so how easy of a quilt block is that? You could whip these out, and you can make your quilt blocks any size that you want. Whatever your size of your squares are, 2 of them, then that's going to be how big your quilt is going to be. Now on this here, this is even smaller. These are 1 inch. These are 1 inch squares because I needed a smaller quilt going vertically. So I just went from 1 1/4 inches down to 1 inch squares and shrunk my quilt block. Okay, so just know that you can make this quilt block right here any size that you want, depending on what size square you're using. Okay, and you're just going to want to keep your white strip proportionate. This is a 1/4 inch strip. You could go a lot thinner, you could go thicker. It's all in what you want to do, but I wanted to leave a lot of the inner square. I wanted a lot to work with there. So glue that down. I have one already done. And what I want to show you is my new favorite embossing folder for quilt blocks. This is the Pretty Flowers embossing folder. This leaves such a gorgeous pattern without it being too lofty, but you still get the impression of, you know, let's say of the quilting that you're leaving behind. Now what's really cool is I love the look of the embossed here, and to get the embossed part of it, the side of your folder that has the Stampin' Up! Logo, if you place that down in there, you're going to get an embossed image because it's going to push the pattern underneath up, and it's going to create the raised embossed layer. But look at how gorgeous that is on the back. So what if you took your color side, put it down, run it through the embossed, your cut and emboss machine, and then you're going to have this pattern here on top, and you've got these really thin, beautiful lines for the details in the leaves. It's something to think about, using both sides of your embossing folders for a different look in your quilting. Okay, but the Pretty Flowers, this is my new favorite. It is current, so if you like it too, you can get it. I'm not showing you something that's been retired. This is a beautiful embossing folder to mimic quilting in your quilt blocks. So I wanted to share that with you. So with the magic of video or the live, here is my quilt block. What I'm going to do is I am going to layer this onto a square that's 1/4 inch bigger. So this is 2.5 inches square. And we're just going to center that. Have a nice even border all the way around. And then we're going to step it up another 1/4 of an inch. And this square here is 2 3/4 inch square. And I put some glue on there. This is the soft suede. I brought in the same brown that is the color of the branches. Set that there and then take a look and get a nice even border all the way around. As you can see, I lost my nails. It is that time of the year when I want to play in dirt, and nails do not play well in dirt. I will break them for sure, so I just went ahead and got rid of them, because for the next couple of months I'm going to be planting flowers, digging up flower beds, and I don't want to have to be like, oh, I broke my nail or whatever. I want to get in there and get in the dirt, because for me it's very healing to feel dirt on my hands. Okay, so there's our quilt block. So let's take a look at what our card front is looking like. So here's this. My quilt is going to be hanging from the branches, and yes, I'm going to be covering some things up, but that's just the way it is. So I'm going to look at where I want it, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my soft suede marker. I can see where I want my quilt to hang. And I'm just going to draw in the little notches that it would hang from the branches. And I'm just going to color those in. Okay? And I can even move it over if I want it a little bit more even. So that's where the quilt is going to hang. Every bird needs their own little wall hangings, right? In the branches. And now I can take a look at let's finish our bird really quick. I'm going to pop up that little wing with a mini dimensional. What'd I do with them? I had everything organized when I sat down. I found them. We're going to use a little dimensional. Put his little wing on there. Okay. And I've got in the stamp set, there are the eyes. And instead of having the eyes closed while he's singing, I think I'm going to bring in the 2 little dots. And you could definitely just use a marker to do this, but this is so easy. And again, I want to show you something that I learned in a bird art drawing class, was that you want the eye and the beak to be going at the same angle. So I've got the angle of the tip of my beak, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to line the left eye going the same angle as the beginning of the beak. This is me just being technical, okay? But I'm going to turn this so that I'm just going to put the point of that beak going straight up, and I want this left eye to be right there with it. Because what it does is, however this is going, I guess I could have done it a little differently. What it does is, where the eye and the beak are, lets you see where the bird is looking. Now I could have angled it a little bit more like this. So he's really looking up. My little Tweety bird's really looking up. You know what? I don't like that. So I should have put that more going this way. But let's say he's looking up. Let's just learn to roll with what we did. But if I was to do it over again, I wouldn't do it like straight up. I would put it on an angle here. Still making sure that, okay, that's just me blabbering on about getting technical. This is supposed to be a fun card. So Julie, knock it off. He's looking up. And then I had punched out of Daffodil Delight a little yellow beak that I'm going to use to cover that up right there with. So just a little tiny, tiny bit of glue. And I'm just going to set this right over that. And just let that glue grab right there. And I want to color in the belly. So I'm coming in with the alcohol blends, and this is dark petal pink. We're just going to color the belly in. I love the blends because you don't see your brush strokes. They blend. They do exactly what they say they're going to do. Okay, so now I have my bird. I'm not super happy with my bird, but we're going to keep going. Where is he going to sit? Because I need to know where to stamp his feet. Now, because he's looking up, I'm going to want to put his music notes going up. But here are his little feet. We'll bring in the black again. It's something when you let your, something that you really like get in the way of being so perfect. I'm going to bring this down because I want his feet sitting right on the branch like that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop my little bird up with dimensionals. This I am going to glue down. I am going to glue down my quilt. I'm going to glue that down. One other thing we want to do is get our music notes. Where are my music notes? Did I put them away? Nope, there they are. Here's our little music notes. And I'm going to have them going up like that. There's our music notes. And our card is done. Except for, again, I don't know what I want to do for sentiments. There's a little note of thanks. It's your special day. So happy you're here. This is what made me think of a baby card. If you had a welcome baby stamp, so happy you're here, and hang the baby quilt from the branches. That's where I was going with all that. So let's put this together. This is the Orchid Oasis cardstock. So this is our card base. Give that a good crease. And we're going to go landscape. We're going to put our inside layer down. Come on. I know you're getting low on glue, but come on. And again, I'll go back in and I'll stamp whatever sentiment I want to go there. And then we're going to flip it over. You know, I like to put some paper on the back. We're going to come in with the plaid. the patterns that they've come out with for this new catalog for the, not only the in colors, but like all your collections, your regals, subtles, there is not a pattern I don't like. Stampin' Up! Nailed it when it came to the patterns. Sometimes I might only like a couple that they use in a collection, but this time they've got plaids, polka dots, stripes, and florals, and it's like perfect. Perfect combination. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to glue our front down. We want that nice border all the way around. And now I'm going to put my quilt on. I can always go back in with my marker if I need to make the little notches that we made holding the quilt. Kind of just want to balance out that the quilt is hanging evenly. So there's our quilt, and then gonna bring in the little bird, and we're gonna use dimensionals to pop the little bird up with. We'll put a mini dimensional on to hold the tail. Take the backing off. Really not happy about that eye, you guys, but oh well. He's looking up, maybe looking for mom and dad. Looking up, singing. You could put more music notes. You could go back in and add more leaves if you wanted. I have a space here for a greeting if I decide what I want to do. Now, I want to put a little bit of embellishing in the middle of my quilt. So I'm going to stick with the same color as the card base, and this is the Orchid Oasis. I think I'm going to use this Pierce Blooms flower right here, and I'm going to pop it up actually. Just going to put that right in the center there, and then these dots for the in colors are amazing. Where are they? Here they are. Matte decorative dots. Oh my goodness, these things. And they've got the ombre colors for you. You get a lot of dots here, but I love the ombre colors. And we just have to pick what we want to go in the middle of our flower. I'm just going to go with the Tahitian Tide, which is my favorite of the in colors. Put that there. And then I'm going to come in with some of the little dots and put them wherever I see the 3 leaves. I'm only going to do 3 of them. I'm going to have to get more dots because look at my favorite color's almost gone. Oops, 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 get down there. What happened? Okay, there we go. And so that's going to be it for my embellishing. Other than a sentiment. Now here's my favorite color as the card base, the Tahitian Tide. But I wanted to see what this would look like with the Orchid Oasis. This blue here is the Starry Night. or sorry, sky. So you can see that there is a difference in the colors. But all I got to do is decide what I want to do. And then if you were going to do a card this way, vertically, you would want to make your quilt smaller because this is just too big to put here. So you'd just make it smaller. And then you could play with the nest and the bird. Okay, so there's just, this is the new stamp set that you'll be able to get May 3rd. Demonstrators were allowed to pre-order a month early. That's one of the perks that I love about being a demonstrator. Not to mention, you get 25% off of your orders. And we still get Stampin' Rewards just like the customer does. If our orders are over $150, we earn the product also. But if you were to join now, you could get anything in the new catalog in your kit. But May 3rd is when I'm pretty sure you're going to want to have this bundle on your list. It's so much fun to play with. So I hope that you liked today's demonstration. Again, making your quilt block. I can't wait to see how you use it in a card. Please post your pictures over in the private group Quilt Cards and More. Congratulations to Vicki Pucker. Her name was spun on the wheel, and she is our paper artist of the week. Her card from last week's demo is gracing the cover photo for the group. So give some love to Vicki. Everybody, oh my goodness, you are just blowing me away with your quilt cards. The participation level makes me so happy to see that I'm able to demonstrate something that you feel like doing and you want to share your creation. So it does my heart so much good to see you sharing your cards over there. So that's it for today. I will go back through the comments. Amy, I can't believe I held your attention through the whole thing. That is so awesome. I love that you are here with us today. I will go back through the comments and answer any questions that you may have had. Amy, you want a close-up? Sure. Okay, so this is the one that we just did. And I'll show you the other ones. This was my second attempt when I wanted to make sure I got some sky in there and get rid of how stark white the card was. I added another layer to my flower here. Here, the bird's eyes. These are the stamp that you can get to make it look like it's closing its eyes while he's singing. So there's that, and then there's the one where the little bird is in the nest. And you can, this quilting that's done on this block here is the Ornate Garden embossing folder. The little flowers there I thought were so pretty on the quilt block. And I just changed which flower I put in the center. And I changed the color of the dots there just for a little bit of color in the trees. And this is the one where I dropped my block and I got brown on the inside of my card, so I had to cover up my mistakes. Let's see, what is on the... Oh, that's just that simple one. There's another one. Oh, my first one. My first one here, I just did a 3 flowers there on the inside. And I've got to get better at stamping these small sentiments so that I don't rock my stamp and get thicker ink. That comes with practice. I'm so used to just doing quilt blocks that I've really got to hone in on my skills of stamping and getting a nice crisp sentiment without thicker, you know, places the font is thicker. But, you know, that comes with practice. And I'm only going to be able to get better at it is to keep playing. So keep playing and learning new things with your stamp sets. So there, I hope you enjoyed today's demonstration. Hi, Carolyn. Oh, thank you. Okay, I will. Hey, Sandy. Hi. Wonder if there's. Let me see who else is on here that I didn't get to see. Hi, Lori. Hey, Jean. Hello, everybody. Okay, that's it. I'm going to let you get back to your Thursday. That's our hour. Again, if you have any questions, let me know. But everybody have a blessed day. If you can, get out and enjoy the warmer temperatures. Go look for some birds, or maybe some wildflowers. There's a lot of things that are popping right now because it's spring. I'll see everybody next Thursday.